Guys, welcome back to Marvel Contest of Champions, and today I'm going to do a video on Realm of Legends. I actually completed Realm of Legends probably about a month ago, but when I came to record the footage, I had a corruption with the video file. So everything's kind of out of sync if I re-record it. So the best thing I thought I could do was do a microphone, voiceover, and make sure you guys get the full content of what I was actually trying to achieve. So you'll notice that I'm level 58 in top of the video. That's because now I'm kind of close to level 60. So yeah, I just need to go over this stuff in the best way possible. So the rewards, obviously, I've got some great rewards. I've got the Cyclops, I've got the Rhino, I've got the Ronan. I've even got some 3 of the tier 4 basics and some other stuff as well. And a whole lot of gold. Gold! So happy that I completed this. So the kind of obviously bosses you're going to face. First of all, it's going to be your Winter Soldier. And all the people that I went through and attacked. I think Rhino was quite hard. Juggernaut wasn't as hard as I thought he was going to be. Just evading away from those unstoppable effects seemed to be the best course of action. And I came up with this kind of really decent idea, and it's a really great tip that I can give you is keep the opponent up by the wall, and we'll talk a bit more about that as we go. I did find Captain Marvel a bit of a challenge because I underestimated the ability of Fury, and the way I was playing Scarlet Witch, obviously Scarlet Witch was my lead character, I was using kind of an aggressive form of play, but also with a bit of evading. I really strongly suggest taking top tips from Dorky Diggly Dave's video on how to play aggressive and how to evade. These videos did help out quite a bit. Obviously, my own experience implemented in with this was just like a triple threat waiting to happen. It's fundamentally important that you keep calm and be patient with this, because your fights are going to be long-winded. If you don't have a rank 550 Scarlet Witch, or you don't have a rank 550 character in any case, like Star-Lord, Captain America, World War II, then you're going to need patience. And that is all I can say. Patience is a virtue. Because you might be a player that has 3 stars. This is achievable with 3 stars, but you have to have a lot of patience and will to do this. So synergy teams. Now, one of my questing synergy teams is this one here. There's a lot of synergy bonuses, especially on crit damage, a little bit on crit rate, some perfect block. You know, there's so much stuff in there, especially an increase on the special damage. That was one thing. But this is the synergy team I used. It featured a crit rate team. Unfortunately, I'm without a 5-star Juggernaut to make this team really meaty. Unfortunately, I had to settle for the weak amount of crit rate bonus from a 3-star Juggernaut, but apart from that, it's still an adequate team. It's not a perfect team, right? I would have preferred to use something a bit differently and Guillotine. So when it comes to masteries, my mastery setups, they are situated around Scarlet Witch, and that's, you know, crit damage. I've got crit rate. It's all very situated around her. I am starting to build a bleed team, but that's not important for what we need. You could create a bleed team and use things like deep wounds in order to really help yourself out. It really depends on how you're going to use, say, a lead character. People use Star-Lord. People use Captain America World War II. They use other characters as well. It just depends on what character you're using and the way that your synergy teams are set up. Maybe you've decided to use a power gain team, a different type of team, and I strongly suggest going over to Marvel Contest of Champions Trocos or Tricks, either his Facebook or his Twitter, because he puts out a full listing of different synergy teams which have different abilities: power gain, crit rate, special bonuses, bleed bonuses. Really strongly suggest looking at that because it can give you an idea of what team you want to use. Obviously, I've got Mystic Dispersion and a lot of different and various masteries. So I've got things with Perfect Block. So Perfect Block may be something that would benefit using a Captain America World War II. Likewise, using stuff with Deep Wounds may be really helpful as well. You really need to play about with your masteries and see if they are going to benefit you when you come into that fight. Obviously, training against someone like Winter Soldier is great because he's your first opponent. He's not immensely hard, but you may find him a little bit difficult if you are just starting off with a game, you're new to it, you're thinking, well, is this a bit too intimidating? Try not to feel too intimidated. If you can get through heroic, I strongly think that you can go further and even do the first level of master, which will then give you the confidence to start this off. So the first fight against Winter Soldier went really well. You can see a lot of time hitting in that stun, and obviously the mastery setup that I've got increases the duration of that stun. Now obviously I'm still playing it in a very aggressive sense, which I wouldn't say is the best way to play it, but it's a way of playing it. It worked for me, and that's one of the key things that I think I need to say is do what works for you. Don't be led by other people telling you what to do. Do it for yourself. Captain Marvel I found some issues with regards to Fury. I was unexpected when it hit, and it took a big chunk of health away, so don't get hit. Evade is important. When it comes to Juggernaut, all I can really say is evade the unstoppable. Do not try and attack whilst he's unstoppable, or while you're with Scarlet Witch trying to nullify that. It won't work. Rhino was a little bit difficult, but I found real advantage with getting up him against the wall, and that was an important point of playing aggressively because he could only hit out on the heavy attack, so I knew he was coming. This was a very big issue, and when you take one Scarlet Witch against another Scarlet Witch, all those nullifying effects that you're placing on the enemy character, you're having placed back on yourself. This was a big issue, and I really would have required using a different character. Unfortunately, my Juggernaut, as well as my other 4 stars that I had in my roster, were definitely not strong enough to take on Scarlet Witch. I think the Hulk might have stood some way of a chance, but without him having an awakened ability and being up higher than I have him, he was not very helpful for the situation. Obviously, if I had him in that way, that he was higher, on a higher rank, maybe had a Juggernaut, maybe dupe Juggernaut, I think I may have stood more of a chance. But you can really see the extent of the nullifying effects and detrimental effects coming onto my person. So I've got a 4 stackable of poison, which is just insane and really bad for the character sort of staying alive. It's not going to be very pretty. This was one of the biggest issues that I have, especially having a heal block, and that regen was coming in thick and fast that I was having, but with the heal block as a detrimental effect, it was just messing me around. I found this one was probably the one that I spent, I think it was a couple of revives on, the other ones not so much. I was still getting some regen, but every time I was making a clean hit, it was putting another detrimental effect on. So do highly watch out for this when you're playing. Maybe a character that's going to nullify would be great, but it's not good. This is a really interesting battle. So this is Wolverine. Wolverine heals up about 3,000 health points a second. Obviously, I'm using my nullifying effects to try and bring down the character. Guillotine is highly recommended by everybody to use because of the L2. I think that it's very important to take a guillotine in. Maybe that was my downside. Maybe if I give this another speed run, I will take her in order to kind of quickly nullify those effects. But you can see still that I'm doing quite well, not amazingly, but if I stopped playing aggressively, which as you can see I'm playing extremely aggressively, the character would probably have won, but obviously I pick up the victory. This one's another one, a speed run through. The Wolverine fight I think took about 7 minutes. This fight took another 7 minutes as well, and this was Black Bolt. Black Bolt was incredibly easy for me, but I think having the ability to be a mystic on top of the fact that it's a cosmic as well, easy evadable, except for obviously I didn't evade very well. I played too aggressively with the character, but I knew that I would get those crit damage effects or crit effects like regeneration fury, and then be able to, I had to take a pause then because my fingers hurt, and that's the thing, people are going to find that their fingers may hurt, so do remember to pause it, take 5 minutes, come back to it. You don't have to be a speedrun expert at this, just take it at your own leisure. Don't feel forced to complete this in a certain amount of time. So this was Hulk, this was the last battle. I did make, I think, 1 or 2 mistakes with regards to being hit. I think that because I decided to play late at night, Okay, I only have a small window of opportunity to play Marvel Contest of Champions, but I decided to play this between, I think it was 11 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. I would do a fight a night, so I wouldn't like overly get involved with it, but I thought that it may have been a bit too late to concentrate, so the play is very sloppy, which is a bit disappointing. However, I was making a beeline to evade as much attacks as possible, but I did find that those Fury hits did get some brutal damage on myself, so do remember to evade and watch out for those. So, hey, I have done it, and it feels so good to finally complete Realm of Legends, because it was one thing that people said, get it done. So my top tips are, number one, have patience. It's important to have patience with it. You know, do a battle a night. You don't have to complete it in one day. You can take your time with it, for God's sakes. Next thing is find a lead character that you're really comfortable with, as well as look at pre-planning what characters you might need. So setting up a good team around taking down certain characters that you're going to face are really important. Maybe you like using Agent Venom, maybe you like using Venom himself, maybe you want to create a badass synergy team that takes out the enemies, but you need preparation. You need to know the people you're going to face. As well, synergy teams. So have a decent synergy team that gets you some real decent bonuses. Look at Marvel Contest of Champions Trocos for some great ideas on what to have as a setup of a synergy team. Mastery setups are so important. Maybe build them around the characters that you're using. And also, I strongly suggest going watching Dave's videos on parry, evading, and how to play aggressively, because they will really help out your gameplay. Finally, my top tip is get the enemy up against the wall, which we've seen a lot in the videos that I've put in this sequence, where having a character up against the wall, it means that they cannot move anywhere, and the only move that they'll do to move out from there is either do the special or they'll do the heavy attack, both of which are easy to read, and also you can evade them quite easily by swiping back and away. Then you're hitting in again and against the wall. If you've got a character that has a significant amount of stun abilities, for example Ronan, for example Scarlet Witch, as we've seen, and there's a few other characters that get stun abilities, even Captain America, you know, even Captain America World War II as the bleed ability, things where you can get the enemy character up against the wall and inflict a lot of damage, pinning them in essence against that wall. They can't move anywhere, only one way, rather than most times in the center of the map they will be able to do a evade away. So up against the wall, hit in, play aggressively, and then when they do the heavy attack or specials, then you evade the hell out of there. So that's the video on Realm of Legends. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching it. If you have any questions about this experience of Realm of Legends, then please put it down in the comments below. If you're trying it, then good luck to you. I'm sure with a lot of perseverance, you will get that 100% and get those fantastic 4-star rewards that you deserve. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to subscribe for more content like this, bit of guides, bit of comic book history, then please hit that subscribe button. If you want to follow me on social media, the link is in the description below. Some great stuff is happening on my Twitter account, so please do follow on that one. And remember, with whatever you're playing, have a good game, and I shall see you soon. Bye-bye.